Howdy, it's Tubalcain again, and it's 9 o'clock in the morning. Excuse the phone cam, I didn't bring my real camera. But I'm on my way to an auction sale, an estate sale, where a man has passed away that had many pieces of machinery and so on, and a collection of Ford tractors, but I'm primarily interested in a couple of Logan lathes, as well as all of the tooling and other stuff. There is no household goods there, so this will be a good auction, I hope. And when I get home, I'll show you all the goodies that I get. I got my wallet with me and my checkbook, and I'm gonna have a good day, I hope. I'm at the auction site, and this machinery sold here, an old hacksaw and an old milling machine, but on this side there are two Logan lathes, and I bought this one beauty. Now I got to worry about loading it. Got outbid on this one. They sold for $700. They're both Logans, but this one has the quick change gearbox. Over on this side, I bought all this stuff. I already got boxed up. I'll show it to you when I get home. There's some chucks in there, other lathe attachments, and that old Kennedy toolbox there that has some junk in it, but not much. I'm using my iPhone to take these videos, so they're not very good. There's also a milling attachment down here someplace. The auction is still going strong, and there's several items here for the lathe I'm going to bid on, right where that man is with the plaid shirt. Hope to win some more items. But interestingly enough, this old farmhouse here at the auction site was struck by lightning about a week ago during a storm. They shouldn't have bothered putting it out. But and there's a lightning rod up on top that is mocking the whole thing. I'm out in the country on my way home. I got the Logan lathe loaded in my trailer, pulling it with my old Toyota. It was pretty easy to load. 4 men helped me roll it up the ramp. There's rollers underneath it. Casters, cheap casters. Now I got 10 miles to go to ride back home, and hopefully somebody will help me unload it there. The Valley of the Tall Illinois Corn.
Can I get a screen seat?
Just about home. Well, I got everything loaded safely, which is no easy job getting this Logan lathe off of the trailer, but the Logan lathe itself will be the subject of another video. So what I'm going to do to finish off this video, and there's quite a bit left, is to go through all of these boxes and everything that I purchased one at a time. And for those of you that are interested in looking through these boxes and see the plunder that I came home with, hang on. I do not want it to seem like a brag session, but some of you people are very interested, and I'm kind of excited myself to see what is in some of these boxes, because I haven't really looked other than pawing through them just before the auction started. So here we go. If you've never attended an auction, perhaps you don't understand that a lot of times they clean out cabinets and drawers and they just dump them into boxes. So a lot of that is what you're going to see here, and some of it was junk and should have been thrown away years ago. But there's always usually some treasures in these boxes, and there was normally something that attracted me to bid on these boxes. And sometimes you know, it was a $5 box or a $2 box, or it might have been $20 or $25. And I don't remember all of the figures because there was a lot of bidding, but let's get started with it. You know, that looks good to start with. There's some Triumph drill bits, but when you open this up, if I can get that open, you know, there's not much in there, and some of those were broken off and resharpened, so that's really nothing there. And here's a little box. This I did look at before. That's a moisture tester. You know, we're in corn country here, so this would have been used to test the moisture content in probably beans and corn, and it's deader than a doornail, probably needs batteries. It's from 1977, so I'm sure it's lost old technology. This is probably why I bought this cardboard box, because the smaller wooden box has a set of hand reamers, a half-inch, 7/16 down to what looks like a quarter, and they all look reasonably sharp and usable. So that's kind of a good item. Here's a little, looks like a jewelry box, but this wouldn't be the correct box but these are revolution counters, tachometers. You've seen these in some of my other videos. That's really an old one. They're made of brass. This is a Craftsman, which was made by Miller's Falls, and the tip for it. So that's not bad. I like that, although I got some of those. Now in here are some really big tool holders. Now those won't fit my lathe. That's an Armstrong. It was a threading tool, and that's all that's left at the end of it. There's one for Armstrong, 3/8 square, big lathe dog. There's a cutoff tool, the anti-chatter type. That's also Armstrong, but too big for any of my lathes, I think. There's one that would hold a cutoff tool. No name on it unless there's a name under there. And some kind of shank. That doesn't look like it's much. Chuck. Boy, that's an old one. And several bars here. Oh, these are boring bars. Boy, that's a long one. Can't tell whether they're homemade or I'll have to clean those up and see. 5/8 and oh, that's no good. That looks like a homemade one. There's a bearing from Tractor Supply. That's probably no good. Here's a sleeve of some kind. It looks like a number 2. I guess they call these a socket. A number 2 to a number 1 Morse taper, apparently. And another one exactly like it. They look like I got the original paper on them, so those are brand new. Apparently, there's another bearing. Another Morse taper sleeve. That's brand new. And apparently, solid. That must be for screw machine. Another one, and an empty package. So that's all that's in that box. But there are a few goodies there. In some cases, I was actually buying the container. I got 3 of these, fairly cheap, and most of what was in them was junk. But these are nice totes for storing, but they're rusty. I doubt that I'll paint them, but they need a painting. That looks like the guard off of a lathe for the back gears, but it doesn't match up with my South Bend or my Logan, so I'm not sure. A scrap iron, I guess. Yeah, a box of tacks and brads and screws, but a whole box of brass flathead screws if I do any boat building. A couple of Armstrong 1-inch socket wrenches. Some stubby bits, scrap paper. There's another wrench. Tool post wrench. Another tool post wrench. This guy had a lot of lathe stuff. There's the Allen wrench, old file. There's a piece of high-speed steel. The rest of that looks pretty much like junk. One more wrench. Some old gaskets. That's about it for that box. My wife was with me yesterday and she kept saying there's a blue refrigerator drawer. I didn't know what she's talking about. There's some old rulers in there. Well, finally I figured out, because there was quite a commotion, and she said there's rulers in there. Well, I dug around, and sure enough there were a couple of rulers in there, so I paid $2.50 for this entire thing here, mainly junk, but I used to collect these folding rulers, And this one is, oh, I don't know if it's a Stanley or not, but this pulls out. Boxwood ruler, caliper, that's kind of neat. And another similar one, and this is Logan. I'll take a little Murphy's soap to these. So those are real nice finds, but the rest of this looks like junk. There's a big old hacksaw blade, power hacksaw, calipers. You know, I might find some things in these drawers that will be showing up in my What Is It videos. Pliers, channel lock with broken off tips, star drill. I don't know what this monstrosity is. A lot more pliers, tool post wrench, channel lock. For the life of me, I still do not know why some people keep used spark plugs. I just don't understand it any more than if you would keep used light bulbs, burnt out light bulbs. Doesn't make sense. There's a little caliper. He's a little Earl. And cleaning up this, but it's probably a Starrett. And what do we got here? Oh, that's some kind of spanner wrench. Some beat up chisels for a hammer and chisel mechanic. A bunch of those. Nothing else of value in there. Here's a pair of wing dividers. And a letter opener. That's about it. Wait a minute, one more thing. Here's another calipers. Starrett, Athol, Massachusetts. Okay, so those, you know, they're not the same size, but I'll hang on to those. In this aluminum box, I think this is a roller skating box. I'm not sure. Anyway, there's a Milwaukee Jigsaw in there. Hope it works all right. But that was $12.50, along with, well, there's some blades there, some Morse blades, and a lot of loose blades down here, and some Ace blades up here. But this thing here, I don't know what's in there. Well, I think there's more blades in there than what it sounds. And a nice screwdriver to change the blades. That's a bargain if the saw works all right. I'm always interested in vices. These are 3 drill press vices, and I had to buy all 3 of them because I put them up as a group and I gave a little more than I wanted to. But what I was after was this nice little tilting vise here. It's a Palmgren and needs a good cleaning. I already touched it up a little bit on a wire brush. But it's the 1.5 inch size, which is kind of hard to find, so I'm liking that. But along with it came another one of the standard Palmgren 2.5 inch vices, and I spoke to my brother on the phone. He said, send that out to me. So it'll cost me more in freight than what the thing is worth, because it's got a few peck marks down in the bottom. And then you've seen these, they made 1 million of these, so that's not much. But this is. Now stick with me because I've just barely started. Here's a little 4-inch 3-jaw chuck, but it's kind of rough. I haven't found the chuck key yet to see whether or not it's free, but it's going to take some work. But it says 4-inch, and it's made by Union something company in New Britain, Connecticut. And I got some extra jaws in one of the other drawers I noticed, and I hope they fit this. But I don't know what this conglomeration is on the back here, but that looks like something that somebody made up. I hope I can take that off and it still has a thread in it, if it's usable. Here's a box with some assorted goodies, but on top was a 6-inch 4-jaw chuck, and that has the exact same trademark as that last little 4-jawer that I showed you. It says Union Union Manufacturing Company, Connecticut. Now, look at the rust on this. A lot of this stuff just wasn't stored properly, but that's what you run into at auctions, and when it's kept in unheated buildings or sitting on the floor, this is exactly what you get, and it's a shame because that could have been a nice chuck, but I don't even know if it's free. I'll have to find the chuck key, but, well, there's a chuck key, but not the one for that one. Let's take a look at some of this other stuff. These little trays here depress me, but at least they're metal. But, oh man, most of this stuff is no good. Look at that. Why would you keep a center drill that's broken off on both ends? There's another one. And then this, I think they call these spit trays, don't they? That's why they depress me. Some kind of reamer. And the same thing in here. We got all kinds of cutters. Probably none of them are any good. Woodruff cutters. The thing is, some of these guys that worked in industry brought stuff home that was ruined, or they got it free and it should have been thrown out. So that's nothing much in that one. Maybe I bought that whole box because of that chuck. I'm not sure. More Woodruff cutters. And this whole box here, this long box, is nothing but, I think I'll dump it here, tap wrenches, as if I don't already have enough. There's a die stock, T-handle tap wrenches. Oh, how many? The nice thing about having a lot is you can leave a tap in each one. Boy, that one doesn't look good. Not have to take the taps out, but just dedicate them. Good old Pratt. Looks like it's cracked though. A couple more die stocks. Let's see, that's Greenfield. Greenfield tap and die, those are always nice. That's probably the only good thing in there.